To the Travel Cafe Kubal Studios for a very special broadcast. PJ and I are hanging out here inside of our Travel Cafe Kubal Studios as we are down here in our Florida takeover, as you can see in MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. We are down here for Florida Week. We do that throughout the year, and I'm very excited to bring you yet another Florida Week. We have specials all throughout the week that Wake Up Call has prepared for your listening and viewing pleasure, and there was no way that I was going to start off this Florida takeover without PJ and I in the house together. So how are you?
Good morning, Daniel. Glad to be here. Glad you could be here.
And happy to. Normally it's us on Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and you hear PJ's voice, but you see me. So now you get to see us both.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on? Well, first and foremost, we're down in Florida. It's June, and so the weather's a little bit interesting. We're supposed to be outside today, but it's currently raining.
True.
Right on cue.
That means you can't jump in the pool, Daniel.
I may jump in the pool anyways.
Okay.
Because it's warm out there.
Yes, it is. Very warm.
How warm is the pool right now?
90.
90. And the other cool thing is that you will get to hear Mary T every once in a while here. Because normally, we don't hear Mary T.
True.
Yeah.
What about me?
and Carrie. So it is a family affair here at this Florida takeover of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, we implore you to head out to Cafe Kubal, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, as well as inside of Golisano's, 343 Fayette Street, Manlius, New York, and at the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road, celebrating their one-year anniversary at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse, where my mom and I did my grandmother's Remembrance Day special, the last show that you saw, which was this past Friday. So, some good Cafe Kubal. Mary and Joe can get it. If you go to cafekubal.com, you can have Cafe Kubal sent right down to you, and you can have it right in your house yourself.
You good coffee?
Very good coffee.
All right.
Good coffee, good
Better
tea.
Dunkin' Donuts?
Chai. That's blasphemy on the show. Yeah. so PJ, where do you want to start? I know you're big on the baseball world. We're going to talk about a lot of different things today. We're going to have some laughs. I'm probably still going to jump in the pool and make history like I did last year.
Yes. Well, the sports world is ever evolving, and we have a lot of news in the golf area. We have, of course, baseball's going crazy. Horse racing, which is currently at the Belmont meet, and in a couple of weeks we'll be in Saratoga for its monumental meet.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking forward to. So, we can touch on all those subjects right there. We can start with the golf, actually. I mean, I've been angry for a month now when all this junk started. So, I'm disappointed that, first of all, I'm disappointed in a couple areas. I think I'm disappointed in Greg Norman and actually trying to put this thing together when, frankly, there's the best tour in the world is the PGA Tour. Yeah. But in saying that, I understand where he was coming from, and he wants to give his players or his colleagues a better place to play in an area where they can earn more money. And they are earning a ton of money, let me tell you. Now, the LIV Tour, which is, I guess, I don't know what it's called, but I just call it the Greg Norman Tour.
Yeah, it's a Roman numeral, so they just call it LIV Golf,
right.
And then they have a bunch of different states that states are going to be going into, and cities coming up here. They have a lot of big events around America coming up.
Their first, well, they already had one event, and Charles Schwartzer won that one. He's a South African that won the Masters several years ago, first-class world player, and now, let's see, I think they're going to play in Portland, Oregon. I believe is their next tournament. And as we speak, there are more players that are defecting from the PGA Tour and joining the tour. And the reason they're doing that, Daniel, is number one, you get to see the world. Yeah. And number two, you're getting paid so much money that these are obscene numbers. I mean, Charles Schwartzer on our tour, I forgot who won it. They made $1.6 million. So if you're going to give a player, a chance to earn that kind of money, even when they finish 20th or 25th, they're still going to earn over $1 million. So, the problem I got with the PGA Tour is that they're trying to be a monopoly, and they really don't need to do that because there's other tours in the world. There's the Korean Tour, there's the European Tour, there's the South African Tour, there's all these other areas where golfers earn money. Of course, you got to travel there. These guys are independent businessmen. They spend thousands of dollars playing this game, traveling, paying for their caddy, paying for the hotel rooms, meals, airline tickets, everything.
Yeah.
They do it all.
You're an independent contractor. That's
yeah.
why they get sponsors.
That's right. And so if they want to go somewhere and earn more money,
Why
they
not?
should be able to do that without the PGA Tour trying to bust their chops, So I commend them on that, but I don't really think Greg Norman probably did it the right way. I think he tried to muscle his way on the tour, and that's not setting too well with some of the players. And he certainly the hierarchy of the PGA Tour, Jay Monahan and his boys. So where I stand with it now is I want to see where it plays out. I know that the tournaments are only going to be 54 holes instead of 72 holes, which is much better on a tour player, especially if you have infirmities. Sometimes you can't make 72 holes.
Yeah.
So if they're given a chance to earn three times what the PGA Tour is offering, then they should be able to do that. And case closed. Don't criticize them, don't harp on them, don't suspend them, don't do anything. You just let everything settle down and see where you go. And I'm happy that the guys have got a chance to earn a lot more money.
Yeah.
But I'm not quite so happy that some of these players that have followed for years are not going to be on a PGA Tour. They're going to be on another tour. So, with that being said, you gotta just let it go and see what happens.
Well, see, what I don't like is the PGA is essentially being a child, and Jay Monahan is saying, if you come to my sandbox and you play with me on Monday, and you go to Billy's sandbox, the LIV golf. If you go to the LIV Golf's play, and go play in their sandbox on Tuesday, then you can't come back to my sandbox. Mm-hmm. And that to me is just a really cheap, it's just a ridiculous thing to do to these guys. And that's the stance I took. Is that, listen, they are independent contractors. They're allowed to do what they want to do. They're allowed to have the life that they want to have, and they want to go out and make more money. They have a finite amount of time that they can play golf. Yeah. Right? Tiger's feeling that right now, that the body just can't do it anymore, right? Mm-hmm. And Phil Mickelson's been through his own stuff. There comes a time, Greg Norman, where you have to just hang it up. And for them to say, hey, I could see the world, I can make more money, I could do more things, I can expand my brand. Because once you retire, if you've expanded into the PGA, the LIV, and you're all over the place, then you have an opportunity to keep around those golf ball sponsors, keep around those watch sponsors like Tiger's had, keep around the apparel and whatnot. If I'm an independent contractor, which ironically when I worked at ESPN Radio down in Orlando, I was allowed to be on ESPN, but then I went and I was on the Leesburg station, WLBE. And I could go on as many stations as I wanted to go on, and I could make money in that community, and I could make money in Orlando, and I could promote myself on both. And if ESPN really wanted me and really needed me in Orlando, they could have me sign a non-compete, but they didn't. Mm-hmm. So if you want me to put in, like you said, pay to travel and whatnot, if you got to pay to be on the air and do all these things, people don't know a lot of the background of it. When a golfer's paying for their travel, paying for what they need to do and where they need to go and how they need to go about it, paying for their trainers, paying for all of these pieces that make them an independent contractor, that's what I did when I was on the radio. You pay to be on the radio, you reserve your spot, then if you want me, then I stop paying you, you pay me, and I'll stay with you, and I won't go anywhere else if we've signed that contract and we have that agreement. But if I'm working at Publix, I have every right to go work at Walgreens on Saturday and Sunday if I'm working Publix Monday through Friday.
Okay.
So,
that's pretty simple. You simplified it pretty easy, but they're independent contractors and they're independent businessmen. They spend thousands and thousands of dollars. Their air miles are probably border into the millions. So,
I thought my frequent flyer miles were high.
There is a certain contention that the money that's coming from the Arabs, which it is,
from Saudi Arabia.
Yes, and whatever they're doing over there, I'm not quite sure. I never really read about it, but you're talking about oil money that's being siphoned from their accounts and given to the players, which is okay. I mean, but I think about the oil problems that we have in this country, and the oil problems that they don't have, and here we're buying oil from them instead of us having our own oil. Thank you, Joe Biden. It's oil money and it's live money, and when you can play a tournament for 54 holes, Daniel, 54 holes, not 72 holes, and earn $4.5 million if you're going to win it, and if a guy comes in 30th, he gets $1 million. So, I mean, you don't have to slap someone upside the head to understand that, I'm going to make more money doing this. But most of the players, of course, they're by tour players. They're European players and the PGA players. PGA has always got some kind of rules and regulations where you have to follow them in order to stay eligible for the tour.
Yeah.
You have to play 15 tournaments or something like that. And the European guys, they're trying to do both. They're trying to play the European tour and the PGA tour, and they're flying all over the place. And the PGA is putting these restrictions on them. So most of the players that you're going to see on the LIV tour are European players. Rory, Sergio Garcia, all of these guys, Lee Westwood, Ian Poulter, all of these guys that are champions in Europe will now be playing on the LIV tour. We're not going to be able to see them play unless they have a TV contract, and I don't know if they do that. Maybe you know the answer to that. I don't know if they have a contract out for TVs yet for us to watch.
Well, and that's the thing about the LIV is that there's a lot of money behind it. There's a lot of money going into it, but there's not that TV rights deal. So people were talking about the fact that you had to stream it on your computer or stream it on any of your TV devices and whatnot, but that you couldn't necessarily watch it. And that's the thing that they need to figure out. I mean, the USFL, that I'll give them credit for, and the XFL, they already have those TV deals when it comes to, they're not the NFL. So the USFL comes out, and people thought they knew the brand of it. They come out with this league, and they say it's a new league, even though it's got the same name. And they had deals with NBC and Fox before they played games. Right. And the XFL, which is taking 3 years to come back since COVID, they have a deal with ESPN, ABC, and ESPN Plus. So, and Disney, essentially. So they're going to be okay. The LIV has all of these wonderful events, but they're not as readily visible, which I don't know if they necessarily care about that because they got money to spend, but their tagline is golf, but louder. Mm-hmm. And the sport of golf is very silent. You can't say anything. You can clap at certain points, but it's like it's an old, reputable game that is very quiet, and it's all about etiquette and whatnot. So it says, welcome to LIV Golf, where we supercharge the game of golf and help transform it into the sport it's destined to become. How would you define golf but louder, and do you like that?
It's okay. It's a good tag. When you're watching a golf tournament, and I've watched a lot of golf tournaments personally in live. So you have to be respectful of the game, and when a guy's sitting over a 10-foot putt, you got to be quiet and let him try to make the putt. And of course, after that, bedlam happens. Or the guy's in the fairway 200 yards away, and he knocks a 6-iron a foot from the hole. People start screaming and yelling, "Hey, great shot! Yeah, that." And unless you're the what's the cup that we usually play for all the time between the Europeans and Americans?
Well, right? No.
Yeah, the Ryder Cup.
Ryder Cup.
Right, the Ryder Cup. Now those guys, they don't care about nothing. They yell and scream all the time about anything. So it's fun to watch. But I don't know if it's louder is what Greg is trying to say. I think he's probably trying to get the fans a little bit more involved. I'm not sure he's going to have much of a live gate at these places. I don't know that. We'll find out when he plays to Oregon. And of course, there's you mentioned there's no TV deal, something that most people don't have what you have or what the people want to look at LIV for.
Yeah.
It's not going to be on ABC or CBS or anything like that. So, however, I'll probably wind up streaming it for a little bit. So, it's going to be. Look, these guys are world-class players. And anyone who's playing golf on any tour is a professional. Whether it's the Asian Tour, the South African Tour, the Korean Tour, the European Tour, the PGA Tour, the whatever tour it is. These guys are professionals. They play it to the very top of their abilities, and they make some incredible shots. So I don't care where they're playing. If they want to make money doing it this way, more power to them.
And they just added some events. So last time I talked about
Portland.
this.
There we go. There's Portland right there.
Yeah, so you're talking about Oregon is the next one. The last time I talked about this, and that'll be going on this week as I'm down here for Florida Week,
Right.
June 30th to July 2nd. They'll be in Portland, Oregon. Then they're going to Bedminster, and then after, so Portland, Oregon will be June 30th to July 2nd. Bedminster will be July 29th to July 31st of this year. Then they're going to Boston,
Yeah.
and in Boston,
Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts and all that
That's right.
garbage. So they'll be in Boston, Massachusetts from September 2nd to the 4th, and they'll be in Chi-Town in Chicago September 16th to the 18th. They just added these. They're going to be in Bangkok. So they'll be in Bangkok October 7th to the 9th. They'll be in Jeddah, when I was supposed to be born, October 14th to the 16th. And that'll be best golf course in the Middle East, Royal Greens Golf and Country Club, and so they'll be in Jeddah, and then they'll have views of Saudi Arabia's Red Sea, and then they'll be in Miami after that, October 27th to the 30th. So
The championship is there.
yeah, so they're going to be in a lot of different places here, but in the country, in America, but they will be in Bangkok and Jeddah coming up.
I like it. I like it. I like it.
You know, and you're going to see the world, you're going to make money, and you're an independent contractor, so I don't understand the beef with independent contracts because I know all about it. So
It's true. Very well said.
So that coming from Papa Joe and myself. It is Florida Week. This is your Florida Takeover, and we're going to take a step aside inside of the Cafe Kubal studios for you to hear from our fantastic partners in Central and Upstate New York. Then we'll be back right here from the Lando Lagoon.
And Elvo, we have a peanut gallery here this morning that
We do.
girls you can clap and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
So yes, we have a nice listening and viewing group that is here today. So we will be back right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Thanks for hanging out with us inside of our Florida Takeover on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from right here inside of our travel Cafe Kubal studios. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicoli's.com. That's myaviccollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skinny Atlas, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skinny Atlas Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here inside of the Travel Cafe Kubal Studios. We're hanging out here in our Florida Takeover Week, and we are starting out a week full of fantastic video and audio specials for you by hanging out in the same room as PJ. So you got PJ and DT, the Go-So, and I don't know, you're going to have to figure out a nickname for me.
Right.
So here...
Meatball number 2.
Meatball 2.
All right.
Yeah, so shout out to Meatball number 1, Joey, if you're watching and listening, we love you. So we are here inside of our very special Florida Takeover Week, and during Florida Week, like I said, we're starting off the broadcast with Papa Joe. I couldn't figure out a better way to start out Florida Week than with a person who has been here in my life as a dad, as a father figure, and I love him very much. So I'm very happy to say Happy Father's Day again to you.
Thank you.
And a very happy birthday, as PJ turned a ripe 37 years old, and he's now, for a little while, older than me for a couple months.
Geez. Yeah,
so how are you?
Good. I'm 76, Dano. Don't sugarcoat it.
No, I'm going to sugarcoat
I'm
it.
76. I'm
76.
Right,
Younger than Bayheim.
right.
That's good.
Glad to have you and Carrie with us. I'm sure you'll have a nice visit here, and you'll be in Orlando. When are you going to Orlando?
Going to Orlando this week, so we'll be heading there probably later on. So, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
that's good.
Gonna go to Disney, gonna try and ride Guardians of the Galaxy, folks. Cross your fingers for us. You could follow all of that in our Facebook and Instagram at Dan on Disney as I chronicle all of my Disney stuff, help you with your Disney planning, and give you some tips and tricks to help it be even more fun when you come down to Walt Disney World.
Good. Sure you'll have fun.
Yeah, we'll have a good time.
Nice.
And you're walking now. Can we talk about that a little
yes.
bit?
Oh, my goodness. I can't thank you for all your prayers and hopes to everyone who called in and wrote in and everything. Yes, I had a hip replacement surgery and a knee replacement surgery, both of them in 6 weeks. And I probably wasn't the smartest guy then, but the hip surgery, I think I breezed through that pretty easy. And I thought maybe I could breeze through the knee one. No. The knee surgery was absolutely brutal. I should have watched the YouTube on it before I did it, but it really is a long rehab.
Yeah,
But I have the scars to prove it, and to answer your question, before I had the surgeries, I had a bad left hip, and I couldn't put any weight on that, and I had a bad right knee. I couldn't put any weight on that one, so for I don't know, for years, I guess 2 or 3 years, I couldn't walk at all, which is, along with my neuropathy, wasn't very comfortable for me.
Right.
My neuropathy is still there, but at least I can walk without the use of a cane, and I don't use my walker anymore. I still have my motorized buggy out in the garage that we fire up and put it to use when we go somewhere extended visit. like shopping for Mary's clothes or anything like that.
Concert.
So, I'm very pleased with my progress. I think, the older you get, maybe the tougher you get, and you can't just let things go. I mean, I needed a better quality of life, and I needed to spend more time with the people I love, and I needed to do that in a way where I could commingle with them, instead of just sitting around and getting up and limping to the bathroom or something like that. It was terrible, terrible. So I did what I needed to do, and I got it done, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah. And we're happy that when I walked through the door, I saw you pop right up, left your chair, and walked right over, and you got
Right.
there quick
Right.
and started razzing me from the moment I walked through the door.
Right, of course, of course. That wouldn't be Papa J if I didn't do that.
That's
Daniel.
very true. The stare that I get in the morning. You stared at me when I was eating fruit this morning. I'm eating healthy.
I know, that's true.
I'm eating healthy. I'm eating good. By the way,
You ate pasta and meatballs last night too, which is good.
and I was going to say, we made it here in time. Thank you, Frontier. You were only an hour late. So we were able to get here for Sunday sauce, which was very important.
Yes,
By
it
the
is.
way, the annoying moment of the week this Friday is already set up thanks to the lady that tried to get herself arrested on her flight.
Oh, gosh.
So
You're going to have fun with that, aren't you?
wonderful woman. You could tell the people that think that they're owed something.
Wouldn't that be something if she was listening to your broadcast and sent you something nasty?
Wouldn't it be awesome if I got to greet her in Syracuse when she came home from her vacation with handcuffs? So, why don't you come down to the precinct for a little while? We'll talk about how maybe you don't have special set of rules and opportunities.
People like that are dumb. And most of those people are uneducated when they talk like that.
And most of those people as children were given whatever they wanted, and that's why they became adults that are like
True,
that.
true.
So we'll talk about that as we go. So let's get into baseball. I want to talk about Scherzer. And I want to talk about the Mets. We know that Greg's a big old fan, and I got some Mets fans around here. Shout out to Brendan Murphy, and there's some good old Mets fans. We have Miss Mary here, who is a very proud Milwaukee Brewers fan, and we have me, who is a very proud, sad, sometimes depressed, but overall happy Arizona Diamondbacks fan, as my team is god-awful most of the time. But we were the fastest team to win a World Series and fastest team to get there in 4 years and beat the Yankees at a time where the Yankees were really, really good. So,
And you have a good record this year.
yeah, we're not bad this year.
Comparatively. Yeah,
Oh, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they were awful last year.
things haven't changed much in the last. Of course, we just talked about this on Thursday, so for 3 or 4 days, things really haven't changed that much.
Yeah.
The only thing that absolutely shocked me was when Joe was over here Saturday and we watched baseball one time.
Thanks to who?
Yeah, right. Thanks to MT, right?
Thanks to Mary T, who gets that for you. What, a couple of years ago she got you the
Yep,
package for
yep.
Christmas?
And I get football with it too, so I'm happy with that. It doesn't.
Why am
cost
I
that
not
much.
living down here?
Well, it doesn't cost that much. I don't, Mary, how much did it cost? $200,
No. 128.
For direct.
which is a very good team. And I've been talking about them for years.
Yeah.
Even though they cheated, they still have a good team. 3 nights ago, they were shut out or shut down by Justin Verlander. And if you're a baseball fan, you know who Justin Verlander is. I mean, he's a 3-time Cy Young Award winner, and he's coming off another injury. He pitched lights out against the Yankees.
Yeah.
The second night, I forgot who pitched the no-hitter, frankly. I'm not even familiar with him. And it had 4 guys pitch the no-hitter. And yesterday, again, the Yankees, after 5 innings, had no hits. And I'm thinking to myself, what are these guys doing in batting practice? I mean, they'd be jacking around, not paying attention to what they're doing. So eventually they got it. Mike Stanton hit a home run, and then they piled on some runs and some hits, and Aaron Judge hit a 5,000-foot home run to win it in the bottom of the 10th inning as a walk-off deal. So that was exciting to see. But how do you shut down the team with a record that's got a 53-20 record, and they're 11 games in front of Boston?
Best record in baseball.
Right.
All of baseball.
Toronto 12.5 back, Tampa 12.5 back, Baltimore, forget about it. Tampa
Why is
beats-
Baltimore always out of it?
They're
out of it like from the first 10 games though. A few years back they started out hot. They won like, I don't know, a bunch, like 10 or 11, like early on they won a bunch of games. but they're a perennial bottom feeder of the AL East.
Right.
I mean, this is a team that used to have Cal Ripken Jr. Why are the Baltimore Orioles so insignificant to the point where they're almost 20 games back here? We're not even to the midway point.
Well, I think there's three reasons. I think number one, their farm system sucks, and I think if you look through their farm system with the rookie league, A League, Double A, and Triple A, you're probably not going to see too many class players, as I call them. And whoever they bring up, is not materializing into a good ball player. They don't have pitching. You heard me harp it all the time.
Yeah.
You win with pitching and defense, and they don't have anything. So even though they've won 34 games, that's not too bad, and a very good Houston team. Houston is going to be a team to reckon with. We know that. I know that. Their division is a little bit weaker than the rest of the divisions.
Yeah.
My Angels have not done what they're supposed to be doing. Rendon is out for the second year in a row. He's got to have wrist surgery, and they paid $235 million to get him to come over from Washington.
Yeah.
And you got Trout, which is probably paying off the national debt with his contract, and he's doing what Mike Trout does. And Ohtani is an absolute marvel to watch. Caught him the other night when he pitched 8 innings, 1 hit ball, struck out 12. Frightening kid to watch. He's a big, tall, strong guy. He is a long windup, sort of like Clayton Kershaw from the right side. Big overhand fastball, curveball. He's got 5 or 6 different pitches, and he hits the hell out of the ball.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching him. I thought he was an excellent choice for the MVP last year, and frankly, if he keeps going what he's doing, he could wind up again being the MVP. He's got a fair record, but his ERA is under 3, which is real good. Trout is doing his Trout things, leading. I think he's second in the league in home runs, and his RBIs are not up to snuff. He's batting pretty
That
close.
11-game losing streak, he
Yeah.
lost control of his bat. So.
Sure. Yeah, he dropped 40 points during a period of 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, but he came back with a big series against Seattle where he had 3 home runs, drove in 8 runs, and got his average back up. He's still hitting maybe right around 290, 295, somewhere around there.
But we talked about it off the air yesterday that when there was uneven leagues and for some odd reason you had one division that had 4 teams and then you had one division that had 6 teams in Major League Baseball and they're supposed to have 5 and it made sense to give everybody an equal amount and have 5 in each, but the Astros were playing in this ballooned division and then the Astros, and I don't know how they figure this out, that they came up with Houston, but they said, hey, why don't you move and switch leagues? They were the worst team, not in the league. They were the worst team in baseball, not just in their side of things, but in baseball in general, the worst Major League Baseball team. And then you fast forward to the fact that they went from the worst Major League Baseball team to winning a World Series. And granted, we talk about cheating and all this stuff, but what are your thoughts on that? If the Houston Astros had never switched leagues and never switched divisions, what do you think about what they would have done to baseball? Because they were insignificant, and then they shifted leagues, and all of a sudden things started to change for them. What would you attribute that to? Because they were an afterthought, and then they switched leagues, and now we're talking about a World Series champion. Cheat or no cheat, it's still here.
Well, they have a good management staff, good ownership, have a good deep farm system. They just started. They got Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve, Alan Bregman, 3 or 4 other guys that they brought up through their system, and all of them wound up being all pros. And they've carried the team. Good job, Altuve and Bregman. I like the way they play. They're little guys. These guys continue to throw them fastballs on an opening count, and he's sitting there waiting for it, and he jacks it out. So, right, he sets the table for them. They got plenty of guys to clean it up. So that I'm trying to find out here who's they're pitching. I have to look it up. There's 2 other pitchers besides 3, and they both pitched just a couple of days ago, and I failed to. Urquidy is one of them, and the guy that threw Rodriguez, the guy that threw the no-hitter, I think. So they're who is frankly an old curmudgeon, so at all. He's won it all. And still, he's in his late 70s, and he's still playing. At 78 years or 76, 78 years old. I think he's probably the best manager in baseball. And when he can get these young kids, see, he's got the ability to talk to these kids, especially the Caribbean kids that come over. He maybe needs a translator, but he can sit them down. He's not going to scream. He's going to take Bregman aside and put his arm around his shoulder and say, listen, I need you to do better up there at the plate. You're not being smart. You're not looking for the right pitches. Take your time, focus.
Yeah.
That's the way he talks to these guys.
Yeah.
And the players know that. They love playing for him. And frankly, he's the one in the last 3 or 4 years that have carried them. They needed someone to write.
They had a pretty massive brawl recently here in the second inning yesterday. And so on Sunday, June 26th, there was a second inning brawl of inside pitches that happened. What are your thoughts about that in baseball? And if there's a lot of inside pitches and it looks like they're trying to hit you, or they're trying, when you're in those moments, if you get hit a lot or if you almost get hit a lot, what is the etiquette of baseball? Do you think that you should, is fighting in baseball ever okayed? Is there ever supposed to be a moment where you should leave the dugout because a pitcher's just being unruly? What are your thoughts on that?
No, you don't leave the clubhouse, but I love talking about this because it's an unwritten rule. It's an unwritten rule that if you hit someone, the next time you change sides and your guy's pitching, you hit someone.
Yeah.
But you don't hit him in the head or aim at the head. You hit him in the knees or the foot or anything like that. But in this particular case, the night before, a lot of people don't understand, is that Seattle's pitcher buzzed a 94-mile-an-hour fastball past the head of Mike Trout, and he hit the dirt. Now, I don't know if you don't know anything about baseball, you don't really know who Mike Trout is. You don't throw at Mike Trout. No one will tell you that. Don't throw at Mike Trout. He's the best player in baseball. Leave him alone. So what happens? He gets knocked down. He gets up. He starts jawing. That's not Mike Trout. He doesn't do that. Very placid guy. Dusts himself off. He likes to get back in the batter's box, but he was pissed. He was pissed.
I would have been pissed.
And he let him know that. So that carried over to the game yesterday.
Sure.
And of course, the back and forth. Hit this guy. I hit this guy. And then it gets out of hand. And then the umpire's got to say, warning here, warning here. And then another guy gets hit, and then the managers get out. They start screaming and yelling, pushing and shoving each other. And I think at the end of the day, I think there was 6 guys who were thrown out, and both managers were thrown out, of course. It is an unwritten rule in baseball that if you're looking to hit someone, you don't hit them from the waist up. You hit them from the waist down, leg,
But should you
knee,
be hitting anybody at all?
bat where they want to swing. These guys put the in the batter's box, stay inside so they can reach the outside pitch, and that makes sense. So as a pitcher, you're going to say, well, let me pitch inside, move them off to the plate a little bit, so I can pitch to the outside and strike them out. Well,
like you might every once in a while hit somebody by accident.
Well, yeah,
but if you're
you know that,
Right.
know that. Even the fan will know that.
But if you're crowding my plate, like you said, I want to move you off a little bit. I want to put you where I want you to be,
Right.
not where you want to be, because I'm the pitcher and this is a chess game.
Right, that's right.
But if there's 3-4 guys that are getting zoomed by their head, or you're hitting elbows, or you're hitting backs, and you're consistently hitting people, then it's time to take that pitcher out. Because unless he's lost his dang mind, I had a pitcher in Little League hit 6 of us in one game, and he had glasses on. I said, why don't you take the glasses off? Probably play better that way.
Jeez.
But he hit me right above my kidney. They said if he hit me an inch lower, I would have been peeing blood. I was like, yeah, coach, I'm good. I don't want to go back out there. But he hit 6 players on our team. And, if that's in the majors, then either this guy is drunk or high off of something, or they're meaning to do it. And I think, Phil Nevin said, the manager now of the Angels with the firing and everything that happened, who is now, and thanks to Greg for writing this in, is the only manager in all of Major League Baseball history that's a former number 1 pick. But he was drafted twice. He was a number 1 pick the second time around. So it's a quote, look, you play 8 games in a matter of a week against the same team. Things like this happen. Scheduling, tensions, that's baseball sometimes, unfortunately. There's some ugly incidents once in a while. I think that's just what happened today, end quote. So Nevin's saying it's because we play each other too much in too close quarters.
That I agree with that somewhat, but managers don't tell their pitchers to hit players. Okay, if one of your if Mike
some
Trout
of
gets
them might.
if Mike Trout gets hit
Yeah.
while he's in the batter's box, okay. Now Mike Trout he dusts himself up, comes off the field. The manager does not look at the pitcher and say, or in the dugout and say, "Go hit someone." No one says anything. It's an unwritten, unspoken rule. You don't if you have to make eye contact. If you make eye contact with the pitcher, then you know the pitcher knows he's got to go plunk someone,
Yeah.
and that's the way it is. He's not going to say jump up and down and say go hit the next guy, get the next three guy. That's not the way it goes.
So if you're my manager, and Evan gets hit, right, on our team, Evan gets hit by their pitcher, and I'm pitching, you're just gonna look over at me, and I'm gonna know, okay, I'm plunking this next person.
Right? That's
Listen,
that's
if they hit Evan, I'm going for the head. So I'm sorry, I'm going for the head. I'm gonna
there-
knock that guy out.
there, it's an unspoken.
I'm gonna throw
rule.
2 balls at him. So
And you know, all of a sudden, and it gets carried away. This should never have happened if the guy didn't buzz Mike Trout with a 94-mile fastball and make him hit the dirt.
who's
Again,
on that list though? Who's on the no-hit list? Who's the no-fly zone? Like, who are the players you think in baseball right now, the hitters you think in baseball, that a pitcher, I don't think a pitcher should hit anybody, but let's just say, like Michael Jordan has a set of rules. Who do you think is on the list with Mike Trout on you don't even pretend to almost hit this guy?
Well, it's Harper from
Bryce Harper.
Philadelphia.
Okay.
Now, look at something happened to him yesterday, or was it Saturday night? He gets hit
Yeah.
on the wrist. Now he's got a broken wrist. Now he's going to be out for a month, and the team trying to scramble to get in the playoff not going to be able to make. You don't hit Bryce Harper. You don't hit Mike Trout. There's not a lot of players. But Houston, they'll throw at Houston anytime they feel like they're pissed off.
But it's
about
been
it.
like, what has it been, 3 years? Like, at what point
4
do you
years.
stop throwing it and take their rings away?
I don't know
If
they can
somebody
do that.
takes their World Series ring away, then people stop throwing at them. But I just don't understand how, if somebody announces that they've, like, if you know that someone cheated, then it's a pretty easy thing. If I cheat on a test, then I get a 0. So if you cheat in the World Series, you don't get a ring. I don't care if you already have the rings, you send them back.
There are certain players in the league now that are in that hierarchy. I think Aaron Judge is one of them, although he hasn't played long enough to be put in the Mike Trout area.
Yeah, but I don't think you hit Aaron
But
Judge.
anyway, Trout is. You don't mess with J.D. Martinez. There are several clever players. I can't think of all of them, but they're just. Oh, Goldsmith from St. Louis is another one. Played years for your team,
Yeah.
Arizona. He again, another guy, bats over 300. Well-respected player, doesn't talk bull, doesn't jive and things like that. You don't hit Paul Goldsmith. Yesterday, I'm watching the Yankees again in Houston, and no, I'm watching the Trout, L.A. against Seattle again, and this is the term of respect right here. They were behind 1-0.
Yeah.
And a guy got a single. I think they had one out. And up steps Trout. Okay, pitcher throws it over his head.
Yeah.
Okay, but I look over the manager. Manager does this. Intentionally walked him. Guys like Harper and Trout, you don't want to pitch to if you're in the bottom of the 8th inning or the top of the 9th inning,
Yeah.
where they have a chance to beat you. And you say put up 4 fingers.
Yeah.
Let them walk to first
Well,
base.
that's been a normalcy.
Yeah, it
There's
is
certain
normal.
guys, and I mean, fans boo and they get pissed, but there's guys that come up to the plate. Barry Bonds come up and they would just go, just let him go, and the pitchers, the catcher stands up and he goes and walks away from home plate, and they're just playing catch. Here's one, here's two. You know what I mean? So there's times where
They don't do
happens.
that anymore, though. They just hold up 4 fingers.
Yeah, well, and I mean, but back in the day, it would have just, you know what I mean? You see somebody come up, you see big old Frank Thomas come up, you're like, no, I'm not pitching to him.
right.
So, Greg wrote in here, should pitchers be able to use a grip substance? The Mets are on pace of setting the Major League Baseball record of being hit by pitches. Last year, the record was set once again. I think it's an issue. So, should pitchers be able to use a grip substance?
No, I think everything's got to be everything's got to be clean. a lot of people don't notice, but before the game, there are the game balls that they use in boxes,
Yeah.
and they put a substance on them and they rub them all around, and those are the balls that you use
Yeah.
for the game. Now, that's the way they do it. I don't know why it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. Anyway, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Now you'll see some of these guys on the mound. They'll rub the ball. It's already been rubbed, but they rub it themselves because they want a better grip. And Greg is right. I don't think it has anything to do with the substance on the ball. I think it's the size of the guy's hands. Some of these guys have huge hands with long fingers. They can grip a ball 5 or 6 different ways. A smaller guy with a smaller hand maybe needs some help, but I don't think that's the case. I think it should be uniform. I don't think they should be messing with it. I think the umpires or their crew rubs the balls at the beginning of the game. You know how many balls they go through? The guy hits the dirt for 3 balls, and all 3 of those balls are tossed out of the game. Why they do that? The umpire looks at the ball. Balls and strikes will forever be a problem too in baseball, and it's some umpires are known as pitchers umpires, and some are not. And if you're close to the plate and you're pitching, you're going to get called a strike. If you're not one of the other umpires and the ball's outside the zone, you're not going to get the call. So I think things should be uniform. I don't think anything should be done with anything.
Yeah.
I just think that it's all due to the size of a pitcher's hand and how they learn how to throw.
Yeah, we look at like the history of different things that have happened here as we're here inside of the Cafe Kubal Travel Studios down for Florida Week and the Florida Takeover, starting a week of fantastic specials coming up for you with wonderful people and wonderful conversations and some people that have never been on the show before. We are starting off the week as we only could with Papa Joe here, ushering in us to the state of Florida. I feel like if the Sunshine State had PJ and Mary T on that, when you came into Florida, if you guys were on that big old billboard, I think people would feel a bit better. I also call it one of the states where people are still free. So we're happy to be down here in Florida. And you can get plastic bags, New York. What? So cool. And they're free. Oh my gee. So I'm very happy to be down here in the second home of Wake Up Call down in the great state of Florida. Obviously, have our first home in the great state of New York. So, yeah. So it's funny how what some people say here, and we look at some of the things that have come up. So when we look at substance talk in baseball, there was pine tar, spit, Vaseline, petroleum jelly, sunscreen, which I feel like I wouldn't be able to hold on to the dang basketball. I'd put sunscreen on there. So we look at some things that are here. A pine tar and a spider tack created more spin on the baseball. Sandpaper and nail files could scuff a baseball on one side, causing the ball to move abnormally. So and then you have spit and Vaseline make the baseball ride through the air as if gravity weren't at play. So, I mean, what are your thoughts of this? I mean, since they tried to outlaw all these things in the past, it's not really gone away, and a pitcher is going to find different ways to try and make the ball do what he wants it to do. I mean, there's things that they found in corked bats and different things they found in the past with bats before. So,
I think the pitchers we're seeing these days, are big men, large men, well over 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", long arms, big hands. They don't need any help, and a lot of these guys have 5 or 6 different pitches. Look at Ohtani. He throws 6 pitches for strikes. He's got huge hands, and he's a big, tall guy. The big, tall guys stretch out more. They land off the mound a lot more. They're closer to the plate because they're 6'5" or 6'6". They got long arms. And before you know it, when you're left-handed, you're batting against a left-handed pitcher, and the ball's on you in 2 seconds. I mean, you got no chance. 1 second, actually. I like the way the players are. I like the way the pitchers are pitching. I think that they take too much time on the mound, but that's another story. They practice on their out pitches. Most pitchers have an out pitch. Like Ohtani has a sinker ball, which is an out pitch. You hold it in your hand. Well, I can't show you. And of course, the changeup is another out pitch. But the hitters are so trained to look for fastballs, especially ones that are coming at 96, 90 miles, 98 miles an hour. If you can throw a sinker ball or a changeup for out of the strike zone, they're going to chase it, and they're going to swing early. They're going to strike out. So, I like the way the pitchers are throwing because they're bigger men than what I'm used to growing up watching Sandy Koufax and Whitey Ford and these kind of guys. They weren't very big, and they were just tough competitors. That's all. These players these days are big, tall, and strong. And look at Cole, Garrett Cole. God, he's a beast. 6'4", 230. I mean, he throws 100 miles an hour, and at times he's unhittable. And this year he's pretty close to unhittable. He had a couple of rough spots there, though, and he's come bounced back again. And he had a no-hitter going into the 7th inning last week, and he won the game, but they gave up a hit, and they took him out of the game. So another thing with pitchers that you're not going to find when I was growing up also is that you're not going to find a pitcher complete a game. The no-hitter against the Yankees, Dusty Baker, I don't know. Dust Baker, I told you, is a great manager.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. He knows it all. Urquidy had not given, or Rodriguez had not given up a hit at the end of 7 innings, and he takes him out of the game. Now, if you're Bob Gibson or someone from the old era, you don't even want the manager to come out there and talk to you. Leave me alone. I'll let you know when I can't pitch anymore.
Yeah.
And
But is a
all of
pitcher
a
ever
sudden,
going to take
4
themselves
guys,
out? Usually not.
3 other guys got to come in and complete the game.
Yeah.
So you got a 4-pitcher no-hitter. What the hell is that? I mean, big deal. 4 pitchers that took the good, and the guy was throwing well at the end of 7 innings. Leave him in. It's his game. Don't mess with it. It's his game. The managers these days, they got all this analytics and all this other kind of junk, and they're saying, well, this guy throws good against this guy.
Yeah.
This guy is the right-hander against the lefty, back and forth.
But do you think like that's taking away the art of the perfect game?
Pardon?
Do you think it's taking away the art of the perfect game?
Oh, sure it is.
Because of the
Sure it
fact
is.
that they don't want to necessarily keep him out there, and so like you said, I mean, if it's a 4-pitcher no hitter, then does it really feel like one? Because we all you were in for an inning, I was in for 5, you were in for 2. Like, I mean, is that how baseball should be played?
Of course
type
not.
thing?
This all go back to Joe Maiden when he was with Tampa Bay. He's the one that started all this stuff. He'd take a starting pitcher for 2 innings, bring another guy in for 2 innings, then another guy for 1 and 1 before they completed the game. He's saying to himself and his players, I'm going to protect you. I want you to throw the ball a lot during the end of the season, not in the beginning or the middle of the season. So that started this trend. San Francisco picked up on it, and then now
But if I have a
everyone
perfect game,
does it.
I'm not coming off the mound.
No, of course not.
I'm like shooing up my manager away. If this is because you might never have one again. There's
not.
certain things you may never have again. Greg said Pickett situation. PJ asked you about he said the Pickett situation. Balls are incredibly inconsistent within game to game. And then we also got Scherzer. I was going to mention this too. He's going to be a rumble pony pitching in Hartford Tuesday. And so he's not in Syracuse. Now, Syracuse finally, the orange and blue city of Syracuse University, finally, after a million years, decided that they wanted, I mean, the Mets and them made this marriage that made perfect sense. Orange and blue Mets, orange and blue orange. So, made sense there, but we haven't seen Max Scherzer at AAA. Now, they were hoping he was going to be back on the mound to play on Sunday. He suffered an oblique strain on May 18th, a little over a month ago, and so they thought that maybe he would be out to play against the Miami Marlins yesterday. However, that's not going to happen, and he is not going to be activated off the injury list. He's going to continue to pitch, looks like, for the Rumble Ponies here, and to be there. So, I mean, he's playing below AAA baseball, and maybe for another week, and then they'll send him right up. Maybe they don't want him to go up against better talent. Maybe they don't want him to have to throw against that, and then bring him back up. But Scherzer, the Mets are still in good footing, and they're still waiting for DeGrom and Max Scherzer to come. And DeGrom now, we had him last year. We missed him toward the end of the season. It ended the Mets season horribly. Nobody wanted to win the NL East. They were like,
Right.
you take it, no, you
Right.
take it, no, you take it, no, you take it.
Right.
And the team that was limping into baseball's postseason were the Braves that somehow found a way, and credit to them for winning the World Series. I thought they were the weakest team to go in.
Right.
But the Mets had the division for the most part. Then the Phillies at one point, then the Braves at one point. But the Mets had it, and they continued. We talk about when do you take a pitcher out, when do you not. They continued to play DeGrom and eventually lost DeGrom. So it's definitely Hartford's called the Yard Goats. So Greg said you're going to see a lot more of these no-hitters, going to become much more of a norm, just like the Mets no-hitter earlier this year. Yeah, I like to see a no-hitter from one guy.
Yeah.
But, it's – so they don't have Scherzer, they don't have DeGrom, and the Mets are still 47-27 currently right now, and they've had the opportunity to still boast of the best record in the National League by a couple games. I think the team that came closest to them so far, the Dodgers, are 45-26. So the Mets are still the best team in the National League by record, and they're still missing two of their aces.
Boy, Scherzer, I love to watch Scherzer pitch. Scherzer's another guy who reminds me of Bob Gibson. Don't talk to him. When he comes off the mound, he sits by himself. Don't talk to him in the dugout. Leave him alone. Manager knows to leave him alone.
Yeah.
When he gets that look on his face, don't talk to him. Don't leave him alone. And he'll let you know when he needs to come out. And Scherzer can get guys out underhanded, for crying out loud. He's an amazing pitcher. At his age, he's still throwing in the upper 90s. He's got 4 pitches he throws for strikes. He's a joy to watch. And again, when he walks off the mound and goes in the dugout, you're not gonna see guys walk up to him and say, punch him in the arm or slap him in the ass. He sits down. No one bothers him. No one talks to him, especially if he's brought out of a game. If he's brought out of a game, I mean, geez, he just storms off and winds up going into the dugout. But Scherzer is a mass. Fortunately, I don't know what happened with his mechanics earlier in his year somehow, and a lot of these kids that never had proper training when they were coming up through their high school years and their American Legion years, they would just had coaches to say, hey, you can pitch, go out there and pitch every 4th game or something like that. And they didn't first of all coaches love their players, no matter what level you're playing in. But a lot of them don't have the experience to recognize whether a player is hurt or especially a pitcher. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Instead of saying, go out and look at, there's something wrong with you. We're going to check you out. Get out of the game. And now the groom is in his early 20s. He's throwing 100 miles an hour. He's allow the Mets to win their division, and then they'll hopefully rest up for a good campaign in the after season. So, pitching is the name of the game, Daniel. Pitching and defense. You got to up the middle. Pitcher, catcher, second base, shortstop, center field, right up the middle.
With a win record of 6-5. Carlos Carrasco 8-3 this season. Taijuan Walker 6-2, and David Peterson 4-1 is what we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, not a bad look at the rotation right now. Is there anybody that surprised you from Bassett, Carrasco, Walker, and Peterson? Is there anybody that kind of makes you feel like, okay, you know what, this guy is not who I thought would be, who he is right now? What would you say?
The guy I'm surprised with is Taylor Megill. I didn't think much of him when he first started the year out. Started the year out really good. I think 2 or 3-0. Didn't give up or earned run or something like that. I just come on hard times too. He's probably one of the pitchers that are going to help anchor that Mets rotation when Scherzer and DeGrom comes back. Anytime you're playing the Mets, you got to watch out for Francisco Lindor, who is one of the best players in baseball. Came from Cleveland. And my main man, Pete Alfonso, Go Gators, is leading the leagues in home run and RBI. So those are the guys that are going to manufacture the runs. And with good pitching, I love the Mets. I think, and we were talking earlier yesterday, just BSing at the kitchen table like we always do. And we're talking about maybe a Subway Series.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Yankees and the Mets. The possibility, folks, and all you fans out there, and all your listeners, this is something that is incredible to even think about. You never mind the Cubs and the White Sox. That'll never going to happen. The Angels and the Dodgers, that may happen someday. But this year, we got a shot at a Subway Series with the Yankees and the Mets. Can you believe that?
Well, and that's something that I would love to see. I was supposed to see the Subway Series last year, and those tickets would be at the culmination of baseball,
absolutely.
the Mets and the Yankees. And I said that would be the perfect ending to a season that started with drama. It started with, is there going to be a season? What is this going to do to the baseball? How long is the lockout going to be? And you and I talked about it, and it ended up starting what's going on and what's going to happen, and oh my gosh, and let's get nervous. Everything works out. And not only and isn't that a sign of the world that we spend a lot of time worrying, and when the thing actually happens, we wasted all this time on it? It might last only a second. We lasted months with people complaining, worrying, and moaning about it, and it was a week.
You know, a lot of people aren't going to recognize this, but especially if you have a Subway Series like this, the guys that we watch play baseball certainly are the best athletes in their sport in the world, and they make a lot of money, and they also have homes and apartments in New York City. Can you imagine if you're pitching for the Mets or the Yankees or something like that, and you're in the Subway Series? You get to go home to your $5 million mansion and your butler and your maid, throw your clothes down, get a good night's sleep, extra hours because you get in and you take the subway to the station. I mean, how cool is that if you're a Met or a Yankees player? A lot of these guys have beautiful homes in the suburbs in the Jersey Hills, but if you get an apartment in New York City, you're going to pay a lot of money for it, and these guys certainly do. So that'd be kind of neat. You take the subway to your apartment and take the subway back to the ballpark. I think it's great.
And so we look at the Subway Series and what we are going to get. The first time we will see the Yankees and the Mets face off against each other will be a month from today. So we'll get to see them a month from really today and yesterday. Tuesday, July 26th, Wednesday, July 27th, midweek. We will see the Yankees at the Mets, and that'll be the first part of the Subway Series. Both games at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, July 26th and Wednesday, July 27th. And the Mets will return the favor by heading to Yankee Stadium on Monday, August 23rd, or Monday, August 22nd, pardon me, and Tuesday, August 23rd. So we will get to see 4 games before the hopeful World Series between the Mets and the Yankees.
Well, and you're going to see Scherzer and DeGrom too.
Well, and that's the thing is because these games are so far off,
right.
The hope, obviously Scherzer, but the hope DeGrom back as we're taking a look at where his injury is here. He's 34 years old now, so we're hopeful that we'll get to see this now back for some hopeful play against the Yankees coming up here very soon.
You know, it's exciting to watch some of these players play in person.
Yeah.
And you're saying that Scherzer is going to be pitching in the minor leagues a couple starts before he comes to the major leagues, back to the major leagues. Well, it was several years ago when MT and I went to watch the Jacksonville minor league team play, their AAA team, and they were the Braves Farm Club. So we didn't know this at the time. So we get in there, we're sitting down, all of a sudden I see someone warming up in a bullpen. I says, Mary, I know that guy. She says, what do you mean you know that guy? She said, that looks like John Smoltz.
Yeah.
And then here he is, John Smoltz pitching for Jacksonville in his rehab start, and we're there watching him.
Yeah.
He gave 3 innings, he gave up 1 hit, struck out 4.
Yeah.
It was great to watch.
I've seen
so whoever gets a
Field.
chance to see these guys play, go out and do it.
Syracuse has seen Bryce Harper. They've seen Steven Strasburg. I've seen Cecil Fielder. I've seen Deion Sanders. You know, there's some amazing because they were the Blue Jays farm team and the Nationals farm team way back in the day, the Yankees farm team, but now the Mets. And so, you know, if you're in one of these cities, if you're the Binghamton Rumble Ponies, right? You know, if you're in Auburn Double Days and whatnot, if you have these opportunities to go out and buy a $10 ticket and a $1 hot dog and a $3 beer, and you go get to watch, you know, Scherzer and DeGrom and company, then go out and do it because you're going to be happy that you did. And hopefully DeGrom will rehab through Syracuse with the Syracuse Mets and maybe Max Scherzer, but, you know, maybe they're just going to run him through the ponies and send him up. But it would be great to see DeGrom because here's the irony of life. I was dating somebody last year who got me Subway tickets and then gave them away to somebody else
Oh, my
and broke
goodness.
up with me because she's a wonderful person. So if I got to see DeGrom in my city for a couple bucks and a 5-minute drive, a couple bucks on my side, and I get to see him in front of me and potentially get to shake his hand or get an autograph because, be at the stadium, whatever. If I get to be around DeGrom after last year around this time getting screwed out of the game and then him coming to my city, wouldn't that be a funny thing?
It would be. You brought up another pitcher that has hard luck, and that's
Yeah.
Steven Strasburg.
Yeah.
Strasburg came into the league, which is impossible. This guy has actually been hurt so much it's scary because he came into the league and he was a killer, and he was unhittable, and all of a sudden he's got a little bit of arm strain, he's got a little bit of this, a little bit of
He
that,
was throwing too much.
and he hasn't been himself in 5 years.
He was throwing
And
too much.
He does his rehab starts, he gets his operations, he comes back, he throws an inning, he's hurt, and he's back on the shelf again. When you're the owner of a team and you're the manager of a team, and the coaches of these teams, and you're counting on these players to come through for you, you can't count on a guy like Strasburg and even DeGrom, and even Clayton Kershaw, who still is hurt.
Yeah.
These guys are not reliable anymore in their 30s. The only one is then Verlander is coming back from a long layoff. The older these guys get, the tougher it is for them to pitch to their standards, not the baseball standards, to their standards. Scherzer he's not satisfied unless he throws a complete game, wins. That's all Scherzer's about.
PJ and I will talk about with DeGrom. Right, being with us here on Florida Week, Florida Takeover starts off with PJ and I in the exact same place at the exact same time, and the rest of this week will be filled with incredible specials, including people that have never graced the stage. We've had over 3,000 guests on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we're still making history because under promise, over deliver, and I just like making history. So we're going to be doing that this week in a very special way, and I can't wait to share that with you as we share the first day with Dad here, Papa Joe, as I am proudly Meatball number 2.
That's right.
So we'll be back right after this inside the Cafe Kubal Studios, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, New York. You can also find them by going out to the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road to their 1-year anniversary of their drive-thru at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. And, of course, you go to 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. We will take a step aside. We'll be back to see you momentarily here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life.
That's true. A lot of talking, bud.
Yeah. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in their community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. We're happy to be here with you, hanging out where sports meets that thing called life. And we are starting out our Florida Takeover Florida Week with PJ in the house. Picture in picture. No, we are in the same room together. As I could touch him. See, look, it's not a green screen. So happy to have PJ here with us. Cafe Kubal Studios, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, as well as 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and their giant behemoth of a brown stripe building, their double-decker cafe, and, of course, their one-year anniversary location where we just celebrated G-Mama's Remembrance Day by making history with my mom joining me for my show, sitting right next to me like Papa Joe is, as we celebrated my grandmother and brought you our Friday signature segments from Cafe Kubal. in their 1-year anniversary drive-through location on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. So, with all that being said, we're hanging out here where sports meets life. You're watching us on Facebook.com and YouTube.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and worldwide internet streaming radio is coming to you on MixLR.com /WakeUpCallDT. You can download it, make it very easy for you. Show you right here. You could go ahead and click on the MixLR app, and you can download that on any one of your devices from the Google Play or Apple App Store. You can click on Listen, and then in Listen, you could search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and it'll bring us up right here for you. And you're hearing us while we're talking. So make sure that you do that there anywhere in the world. And, of course, you can go to wakeupcalldt.com where the MixLR feed is embedded as well. So with that being said, as we continue to talk about baseball, and we'll get into one of my thoughts that I had about DeGrom and if we saw that coming with his injury. But before we go there, we're going to let PJ give us his run-through and his thoughts on his power of Major League Baseball at this point in the season, and then we'll jump into it.
Well, we'll start with the American League. We've been talking about the Yankees forever, it seems like. They do have the best record in baseball. They win at home, they win away. They're just a scary lineup. I love the way they hit, especially Rizzo and Stanton and Joey Gallo and D. LeMahieu and Judge. I mean, they're just a scary team. And for them to get no hit by the Astros is very significant because that's going to play into their mind when they come to meet them. They're probably going to meet them in the American League playoffs. So keep that in mind, folks. Boston is coming up next after the Yankees. Kind of a disappointment this year. They don't have the pitching. They still got the great hitting with Bogart, Devers, and J.D. Martinez, who is their best player. It's unfortunate they can't catch the Yankees. I don't know if they'll be eligible for a wild card, but
they have a losing record in the division with the AL East. So they're 7-14. The Red Sox are in their division. Yeah.
The Central Division. This is another weak division. Got Minnesota leading the league over Cleveland. Kansas City White Sox, I thought would make a really good move here, and they're not.
Yeah.
Don't understand that. Minnesota, at best, is a weak sister in this division, and I don't look for them even get past the playoffs. So if they want to play in a wild card, they're probably going to get beat.
Yeah, Minnesota and Cleveland, not great records, and where they stand right now, Cleveland has a losing record against the AL East at 5-8. Minnesota is winning at 11-9. But they don't have a great record in their own division. Minnesota's leading their division, but they're 18-12 in their division.
That's
so,
right. And the White Sox are after Cleveland. Kansas City somehow was on the bottom. I don't know how they got switched around like that.
Kansas City's there and the Detroit's there. Yeah.
We talked about Houston in the Western Division. They're the real deal. They're probably going to cruise to their championship here.
Almost 11 games up. Yeah.
Yep. And my Angels are just major disappointment. I think you've heard me say on this telecast before that last year when they drafted players, they drafted 15 players, they drafted 15 pitchers.
Yeah.
And none of them, one of them, who threw a no-hitter early in the year, Dieters, everything else has fallen apart except for Ohtani.
Well, look at their record.
Yeah.
They're 19-22 at home.
Yeah.
So they have a losing record at home. The Angels have a losing record on the road at 16-18. They have a losing record against the AL East at 6-14. They are 7-4 against the Central, which is a weak division of the AL, and they're 17-14 in their West Division itself. So the Angels across the board are either below 500 or barely above.
And that can't be. Look at, you can't expect, with Rendon being hurt.
Yeah.
You got Walsh, who's hitting the ball really well. You can't expect Ohtani and Trout to carry this team to a pennant. I'm very disappointed that the pitching is not well. I think they got rid of Joe Madden way too early. They had a 14-game losing streak. I get that. I understand. But Joe Madden is a unique kind of manager. He's a tweaker guy. He doesn't follow a performer.
He was really successful in Tampa.
Sure he is. He's a two-time manager of the year, and he's won a league championship with Chicago. I mean,
and you don't release
a guy. Yeah. You don't release a guy like that. I mean, sure he's got some problems. He's a quirky kind of manager. But they should have left it alone. Phil Nevins, for all his accolades, is probably going to do a good job. But this team isn't going anywhere. And I'm very disappointed. Trout's probably going to hit 40 home runs. He's going to drive in 100 runs. He's probably going to bat 285 or 290. very close, probably getting another MVP of the year. He leads the league in so many different categories now. I don't get it. I mean, they should have seen this coming years ago, and I think they did when they drafted 15 pitchers. But the kids are not coming through. So, what can you say? National League, we talked about the Mets, of course. We talked about Atlanta. Atlanta and Philadelphia still have a chance to get the Mets, but I don't see the Mets are like a good 2-year-old filly. She's going to draw away in a stretch, and the Mets are going to draw away, I think, too. When Scherzer and DeGrom come back, they're going to be scary. And frankly, with my package now, I watch MMA. I can see so many baseball games now on my package that when you're old and retired and sort of crippled like I am, I sit on my couch, I put my knees up, my legs up, I got my computer in me, and I'm watching baseball. I says, when you're 76 and all beat up, what better way to spend your day? Central Division, I got my Bucks, or the Milwaukee Brewers. This is a weak division too. I got to say it. Milwaukee's not playing to their potential. Okay, the leading save leader in the league is Josh Hader, who you've heard me say is absolutely frightening to try to hit again. This is a race between Milwaukee and St. Louis. I think either one of them, if they win the division, they're going to be a wild card. They'll probably play each other again. St. Louis has 3 Hall of Fame members. They're going to, this is their last year. Adam Wainwright, Molina is their catcher, and of course the unbelievable Albert Pujols, who is defied time. He still hits home runs. He still even hits doubles. He's got to hit one right in a corner, and the guy's got to mess around with the ball, but he can still get to second base. So those guys are fun to watch. They're not playing all the time. Molina's amazing. He still catches. He's been doing this for 20 years. It's amazing. All of these guys. The West Division, we got the Dodgers on front, which doesn't surprise anyone with their pitching with Walter Buehler and Clayton Kershaw and the gang.
Yeah.
San Diego's right behind him. Very, very dangerous team with hitters like Machado, and these guys are just very dangerous team. They can score 10 runs in a flash like that.
Yeah.
Daniels Arizona's isn't doing that bad. They're 33 and 41. They're not playing that bad. They're 5 and 14.
Horrible in their division.
In their division.
10 and
Not
11
very
against
good.
the NL Central, 12 and 10 against the NL East that the Mets play in, 5 and 16 against the West, 15 and 20 on the road, 18 and 21 at home, 13 and a half games back, and 33 and 41 is the record. But not as bad as it's been. So.
But you see, if you look at the Dodgers now, just it's the opposite. In the West, they're 14 and 8 against their division rivals. So that tells me, that they're in their heads.
Yeah.
When you play the Dodgers, you're playing tough. I don't look for the Dodgers to back up here. I think San Diego will probably give them a challenge again. Yeah. San Diego's good enough maybe to get a
San
wild
Diego
card.
and San Fran, they vie for it, but and at times you're thinking, why are the Dodgers in second? Why are they in third? But the Dodgers again, why were they in second a couple weeks ago? But now they've risen back to first. You take care. All they got to do is take care of the West.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to win a World Series, you got to play well against everybody. But if you want to get out of your division, you just have to stay afloat. And the best record that they have is against their division, which is 14 and 8. So you credit them with the ability to take down the Giants, who are a reputable team, the Padres, who are trying to be a reputable team. So there's a lot to be said about the fact that they find a way to get things done within their division. And the Dodgers they're a dangerous team.
Absolutely. And speaking about pitching and defense, they got it all. And now they have Trey Turner, who's killing the ball. He came from Washington. Mookie Betts, of course, came from Boston. Great leadoff hitter. Got a good chance maybe at getting an MVP this year. He's just And then he wind up signing $410 million contract. It's a ridiculous number, He wind up being the MVP of the National League. Okay. Then after that, he broke a kneecap or did something to his knee, and he hasn't been back since. He hasn't been right since. He's slow at the plate. He still runs well. He's way off on his hitting. He plays a great center field. He can play anywhere in the outfield. But Christian Yelich, I expected him to carry Milwaukee. Not doing it, and Milwaukee's a little bit of a disappointment to me too. But anyway, you got some serious hitters out there. Boston, their 3 guys, Rafael Devers, Alexander Bogaerts, and J.D. Martinez, are all hitting over 300. The only reason Boston is close to the Yankees is because of these three guys. Their pitching is atrocious. But if you can get these three guys out, you're going to beat the Boston. If you can't, you're going to lose to Boston.
And shout
Very
out
simple.
Bryce Harper's still over 300 as well.
Oh, Bryce
318.
Harper is Bryce Harper's the man. Bryce Harper, home runs. Aaron Judge got 28
He's
home
got a
runs.
bunch of walk-offs helping out that number right now. 28 at the time.
I was watching last night, and I knew after they finally got a hit,
Yeah.
was Mike Stanton's home run. They were 3-3, and I must have taken a little nap because I missed that. All of a sudden we're in the 10th inning, and they don't walk Judge. There's a man on first and second, and I think with one out.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, give him the four fingers, get him out of the way, and then face someone else. They didn't. So
Yeah.
what happens is Judge hits the ball 440 feet, and they got a walk-off win. And he's a very dangerous hitter, extremely dangerous. He's so big and so tall and wiry that he can reach anywhere on the plate.
Yeah.
He can even pull an outside pitch for a home run. That's how strong he is. Hits the ball all
another hit
fields.
again.
I think he's a sensational player. My man Mike Trout's got 22 home runs.
Yeah, Pete Alonso of the Mets and Mike Trout tied
Oh.
for second with 22 to Aaron Judge's 28. So says something about best team in baseball. Aaron Judge is on that team with 28. Second best team record-wise, the Mets. Pete Alonso's got 22. And then, the team that makes no sense, but Mike Trout's good, he has 22 as well for the Angels.
Right, and Alonso is a very dangerous hitter also. Another guy you want to walk. Don't put him anywhere close to the plate. Paul Goldschmidt is in this talk too because I wolf him up a lot. He's a great hitter. He hits for home runs. He hits for average. He hits for power. He does it all. Alonso's leading the league in RBIs with 69 RBIs. It's not even the All-Star game break yet. Not even halfway through. He's got 69 RBI. There's a guy that go Gators again, of course.
Yeah.
He was an Italian kid from New Jersey, and they recruited him to come down to play baseball for Florida. That's exciting.
Yeah.
It is to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, Alonso leading the league with 69 RBIs. Jose Ramirez for Cleveland. There's another guy you don't want to pitch to him. If you are in a situation where you can give him 4 balls, get rid of him. Very dangerous hitter, 63 RBIs. Goldschmidt, as I said, is hitting well. He's got 62 RBIs. Judge has 56. So Francisco Lindor, who Daniel likes for the Mets, he's another player that can carry you in a 3 or 4 game series. He is so good that he can carry a team in a series. And Rolando too. Slugging, who do you think's leading it?
Yeah,
Mike Trout. Mike Trout wins replacement. Anything to do with baseball and hitting, Mike Trout is there. 4 or 5 years ago, I said, I could be watching history. This guy is so good. He's already got a couple MVPs. That people don't want to pitch to him anymore.
Yeah.
And he's so good. He's still good, and he still hits for average and power and wins above replacements. I thought he was a generational talent. He is a generational talent. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, we get another generational talent with Ohtani, who is remarkable to watch. But anyway, Trout is
and on the same team and can't get out of the basement.
can't get out of the division. Awful, absolutely awful. Pitching, they got the Dodgers. Tony Gonsolin, 1.58 ERA, and that's on the same pitching staff as Clayton Kershaw and Walker Buehler. This guy is carrying them too.
Can we talk about the fact you brought up the Dodgers though? Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger, you got Chris Taylor, you got Trey Turner, Freddie Freeman. I mean, when you look at this team and you look at their roster and you just look at names, and I'm looking at Freddie Freeman with Mookie Betts and Cody. I mean, why aren't? I mean, this is everybody's talking about the Yankees. People are hopeful about the Mets, but the Los Angeles Dodgers, on paper, with what they added and the power that they have in bats, and yeah, they've lost some stuff in pitching and whatnot over the years because guys move on and want to make their hay somewhere else. But I mean, I look at their roster and I see Turner and Freeman and Betts and company, and I'm like, I don't want to face that as a pitcher. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's a
Well,
great lineup.
Los Angeles blew it last year. They should have never lost the championship series. They should have never lost it. One player that's really disappointing this year is Cody Bellinger. I don't think he's hitting above the Mendoza line, which is 200. He's a big left-handed pitcher or hitter. He's got a big swing. He doesn't hit for average that well. Hits a lot of home runs. If I find one hole in Los Angeles offense, it's Cody Bellinger not playing up to his potential. So you have it in a nutshell there. Pitching and defense is always the name of the game.
Yeah. And PJ wanted to talk about racing. We will do that right after this fast break. Final fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Travel Cafe Kubal Studios. We're hanging out with you where sports meets life. If you're on YouTube or mixlr.com, both /Wake Up Call DT. You've listened straight through. If you're on Facebook, Facebook sometimes is a joke. And they have almost the entire video, but we had to start a new one for you. So part 2, you're watching and listening right now on Facebook.com /Wake Up Call DT. Get your stuff together, Facebook. Stop worrying about politics and let's start running some broadcasts. We'll take a step aside for a fast break from the Cafe Kubal Studios. This is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we'll be with you in just a moment after you hear from these great partners. PJ and I will talk about horse racing.
The girls are...
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Wake Up Call right here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios where sports meets that thing called life. We're inside of the Florida Takeover, and we start out our week in Florida, our second home of the show. As you know, the great state of New York and central and upstate New York being a proud hub of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we now have Florida over the years has grown to be that with my coverage of UCF, South Florida, Miami, Florida State, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Bucks, the Jaguars, the Dolphins, as well as recruiting down in the great state of Florida. And, of course, Tampa Bay Rays, if I didn't say it. And, of course, PJ and my connection to Florida and the SEC. So the SEC, which I believe, and we're going to have, and you got to watch this, I speak with Joe Fields, who played quarterback and DB, and then went on to play DB for the Carolina Panthers after being at Syracuse. He's a Houston native. He's now at Texas A&M, and him and I have a conversation about the thought, it being more than a thought, that the SEC could break away from all of college and form their own playoff that's just the SEC.
It's just, and it's logical to think that way. And the best player in football, in high school football, just signed to play for Texas. Archie Manning's grandson.
Arch Manning. There you go.
And everyone was trying to get this kid, even Florida. So I mean, he had something like 50 offers. I mean, it was ridiculous. I thought he would go to Mississippi or Tennessee, where the uncles played, but no, he wants to go to Texas. So good luck with that.
Yeah, so that's where he's heading, and Texas has been in the toilet. So
Yep.
we'll see if they get out of it. They've been changing coaches like underpants, and now they're going to be changing conferences to the SEC. I said Texas needs to be prepared to be 6-6 every year.
Right.
Because it's not going to be great in the SEC. There's a reason why Lincoln Riley jumped ship from Oklahoma and went out to the USC, because the Pac-12 is wide. I want to shout out another Texas kid, Bo Edmondson, my dude, my guy, who I've known for the last couple of years here. Pre-pandemic, we started to get to know each other, and Bo Edmondson has committed to be the quarterback of Michigan State's future.
Wow.
Coming from the great state of Texas, and I wear my hat from you very proudly. He goes to Lake Travis High School down in Texas. So big shout out to Bo Edmondson, and looking forward to have you back on the show soon. So when it comes to the state of Texas and quarterbacks, I'm thinking about Bo and what Bo knows and how he's going to lead Michigan State forward. So with that being said, leading us forward as we are here inside of the Florida Takeover from the Lando Lagoon, hanging out with PJ, and myself, Dan Tortora, inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios.
Enormous structure. Really scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Belmont Spring Meet is going to wind up in about 10 days or so, and the whole world of horse racing then reverts to Saratoga for 7 weeks, and half of July, August, and a little bit of September. If you're a trainer, you bring all your good horses over to Saratoga. They race for the most money. These are the best trainers, the best horses, and the best jockeys for this venue, period, in the world. And it's unbelievable to think that.
Did you see this really quick here before we jump into horse racing? I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in God incidences, is what I call them. And the prayer that came up for you today, it says, I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God and steadfast forever, in his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed.
Very good.
So I thought that was cool that they said the God of Daniel. So shout out, because you are my God.
For sure.
All right, so horse racing, let's hop.
All right, we got the best trainers bringing in their horses from around the country, and the owners, the Chad Brown, of course, he's leading the Saratoga meet. And Saratoga is really sort of like his playground. Every year he wins the title there. He wins multiple stakes wherever they are in the country. He's got the best stable. He's got the best help. He's got the best jockeys riding for him. He's very, very formidable and very difficult to beat. But then you got Christopher Clemente, Rudy Rodriguez, Todd Pletcher, Bill Mott, Steve Asmussen. These trainers, wherever they are in the country right now, are going to bring their horses to Cax is another one. Anyway, they bring their horses to Saratoga, and they race for the best money and to see who's the best there is. With that, you bring the jockeys in also, and the jockey colony at in Naira is the most difficult one frankly in the world. The best jockeys ride at New York because they race year round. They race for a lot of money, and these guys win. Dylan Davis, Arad Ortiz Jr., his brother Jose Altive, Manny Franco, Joe Rosario, Flavian Pratt, who left California. Flavian Pratt left California to come over to New York because he wants to race against the best.
Yeah.
And he was a 3-time jockey champion in California, but he said it wasn't enough. He's coming over here, and I love to see him. He's great. And these guys Luis Saez, Jose Lascano, Kendrick Carmouche, these guys are all top jockeys. And when you ride for, say, a Chad Brown, he's got several horses, several jockeys that he can choose from. And one of them now is Flavian Pratt. And in his short existence here in New York, Flavian Pratt has won 5 stakes races for Chad Brown already. Chad Brown has 42 wins, or 32 wins, far more than anyone else. And he leads the deal. At the best horses coming from around the country, I know Saratoga is not very far from New York. So if you ever guys get a chance, you call up over there, you get a will call and tickets, go sit at a picnic table over there, watch the races, and enjoy it with 25 or 30,000 people a day. It's a no-brainer,
Yeah.
especially if you live in New York.
And Greg brought up, how about that New York half sweep in the Belmont a couple weeks ago? Pletcher owns Belmont as of late.
Yeah, Fletcher's another guy that targets his horses for Saratoga, along with Brown. He had a maiden win yesterday that was really scary, a 2-year-old filly, I think. And Todd Pletcher is a 7-time champion. I mean, he's a first-class guy, first-class trainer. Love him. But Greg, Chad Brown has more wins than anyone, and he does that every year. He's the top trainer in New York. Period. He likes to go to Kentucky every once in a while. In a winter meet in Gulfstream, a lot of these guys that go down there, they'll race not for that much money, but they'll race down there. Jockeys will go down there. Why? Because it's warm, for crying out loud. Yeah. If you want to do this or you want to race at Aqueduct when it's 10 degrees outside, But Chad Brown leads. Pletcher has 15 wins this year at Belmont. He hasn't started. He only started 81 times. Anytime Todd Pletcher brings a horse off a layoff, say a 60-day layoff or even a 6-month layoff, he's ready to win. Brown will not be top this year. He's got 40 wins. He's got $4,800 he's already won in prizes. So Chad Brown will take his success from Belmont, go right into Saratoga, and those guys know, the ones that I mentioned, the Bill Monts, the Steve Asmussen, Todd Pletcher's, Brad Cox, they know that they got to keep pace with Chad Brown in order to get anywhere.
And that coming from horse racing, to round things out very quickly here, I want to go back to something that we promised. You and I were talking at the time, and you said, obviously last night, talking at the kitchen table, and now we're doing the show this morning, this segment with Papa Joe that we typically do every Thursday, so make sure you come back weekly with PJ, as he's with me on Wake Up Call exclusively. I have his rights. So PJ and I are together every Thursday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com, all /WakeUpCallDT, on Facebook.com /LiveNowDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.com Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So this segment started with us talking at the table years ago. And you and I were just sitting, and I thought to myself, I was like, he gives me way more credit than I deserve. He pushes me, and he helps me to know things that I didn't know before, and he challenges me because he's such an encyclopedia to be able to keep up with him. And I thought to myself, I love him. He's a dad to me, a father figure in my life. I love him dearly. Not only that, but we laugh, we have fun, we have faith, we talk about things that matter in life, we believe in God, and we share so much together, and he's so knowledgeable that I thought to myself, why would I not have PJ on? I asked him to do it one time during the football season. Then I said, you want to do it again? He goes, you want me on again? I said, yeah, let's do it one more time. Let's do it again. And then I said, I'd love to have you on every week. And he said, I'll do football season because that's what I'm really into. And he said, we'll do college football. And then we extended it into the NFL. And the whole time I was like, I want you to be on every year. And that was my plan the whole time. I want you to be on all year long. And then you said, okay, well, let's test it out. Let's try it. I don't know what we'll talk about, but we'll find something. And now for the last couple of years, we have been on pretty much every single Thursday outside of any major holiday or surgery. We have been on every Thursday all year long And it all started with me trying to get him on once and then saying, let's do it again. And then me saying, well, what I really want is for you to be on with me every week.
Well, that's true. I've had fun with it, Daniel. I've had some health issues, obviously, and our listeners know that. But if I could waddle my ass to the table and sit down, I should be able to get there. And that's what I've been doing. Now I can walk a little bit better, and I feel a lot better, so we can carry on. The only thing that I really miss going to Saratoga. I wish I could, but it's a trek for me from here to fly up there. I got to find a hotel room, which is impossible right now, and then get the tickets, which I will have there from them. But I misses it. But I watch it on TV because I belong to Naira, and I get their feed. But anyway, we talk about so much, and last night we were talking about a whole bunch of things for an hour, and I was tired. I thought maybe I was going to fall asleep, but we talked about a lot of things. We talked about baseball mostly.
Yeah.
Baseball is in the forefront of sports right now, of course, and the golf tournament we touched on. So we do try to cover a lot of areas, things called life, as you say. There are things that intangible, and when you have a lovely nephew like you, I enjoy the show. I enjoy talking and trying to impart my wisdom, if you call it that, throughout. Fairly opinionated, not that too much opinionated, but fairly opinionated, and I can take an argument that's good or bad. So it's fun, and we have a lot of fun with it. I mean, that's the way it is.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is that we've been able to spend so much time together, and I call these like time capsules, is that, one show with you I would have kept forever, but we've done probably over 100 now,
multiple shows.
And it's been it's just, I mean, to me, I can't really put it into words how grateful I am, because I thought, Papa Joe's so great in my life. I don't want to be selfish. I want to share him with the world. And I want to share our conversations. And I love sitting and talking. There's never been a day that's gone by wherever I am where I haven't thought I'd love to finish the day sitting at the table with Mary and Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So every Thursday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Wake Up Call, we have the opportunity worldwide to sit at the table with Papa Joe. And as I've told you before, I said I treat this show like whatever guest is on, and you're sitting on a couch with us. We're not talking at you. We're not talking above you. We're not talking through you. We're talking with you. And that couch atmosphere lives with Papa Joe, and that, I want you to sit at the table with us. Sit and have some Thursday sauce, and let's talk about what's going on in the world of sports and life. So the two final points, one about family will be the last one, but we promised we'd talk about DeGrom. The conversation we were having last night at the table was about pitchers earlier and earlier in their life having Tommy John surgery because of the throwing motion and everything going on. So did we see that DeGrom would eventually be out last year? And I did. And I'm wondering if keeping him on the mound last year is going to bleed into this year, maybe I hope not the rest of his career, but I'm nervous that trying to keep him on the mound so that he can set all these records, it's hurt him last year. It kept them out of the playoffs last year, and now they're doing well this year. But will DeGrom ever be the same? And that's my biggest concern. Is last year they didn't want to take him off because it was all about making history and, oh my God, look at how great he is. And here we are today saying, did they do so much damage to his body last season that his arm won't be the same? And we don't know that yet.
I understand that, but unfortunately, DeGrom is probably going to be lumped in the category of Steven Strasburg, Justin Verlander, Clayton Kershaw. These guys are Cy Young Award winners, but have been hurt multiple times. DeGrom, I don't know if he's going to come back, Daniel. I don't know if he's had the proper training when he was younger. I think he probably had the wrong arm angles, and maybe he over the repetition of a. See, if people look at the pitch is a violent motion.
Yeah.
And if you see someone as big and strong as DeGrom is, or Strasburg, when they pitch and come through or come overhand, and they are just flat out throwing it, and it's a violent motion, and they got to take care of themselves. And if they don't have the proper training when they were younger in their lives, then now they're going to be in their late or mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, and they're not going to last.
Yeah.
The groom won't last. Verlander, I don't know if this will be his last year, but he pitched 7 innings against the Yankees, gave up 1 hit. I mean, Verlander is still pitching at 39. Clayton Kershaw, when he throws well. He doesn't throw enough. Yeah. And Strasburg, God knows what happened to that kid. That kid was a world beater when he first came on. Another big hand guy with a big sinker. And DeGrom is going to be, and DeGrom is right in that category with these guys. So I hope that's not the case, but I wish him luck. I want to see him pitch.
Yeah, me too.
And I want to see a Subway Series.
I want to see him bounce out of it. So the final piece, and it's fitting, is family. We obviously did G-Mama's Remembrance Day. My grandmother's, one of her sisters is your mother, Wart, Miss Aunt Dorothy, and they're both up in heaven, raising hell with God, and having some fun with him. So what is your favorite part of family, and what do you appreciate every day?
Well, I enjoy talking to the family as much as I can. Mary has such a huge, extensive family, over 50 people. She has 7 sisters. We have nieces and nephews all over the place. Now they're growing up. They're in their early 20s and mid-20s, and they sort of drift away, the way young people do. But I still keep in touch with everything. On my side of the family, with you, of course, I got Meatball number 1, you Meatball number 2. Meatball number 3 is my autistic nephew in Milwaukee, David.
Yep.
And Meatball number 4 is my nephew in Colorado, Gabe. So I have enough meatballs to talk about it and talk to. So this show is just a lot of fun. I mean, but I take it seriously. I mean, I want to sit down and I want to say something that has substance to it, not just BS. And I don't like to follow any kind of rule of law or anything. Yeah. You're just talking, just BSing is what you're doing. I mean, if I met Greg, we would probably sit at the table for 5 hours and talk about stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with some of my car club guys. Or Joe. Joe's very intelligent when it comes to sports. So, look, sports is a way of life for me. I love it. I keep track of it, and with our show, it's just a lot of fun.
That coming from Papa Joe. I will give a final note after I tell you, as we always do. Wake Up Call is with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. In Florida week, it starts at 9 a.m., and we have different specials that'll be going on. So make sure you pay attention to those, because this week's got a little more unique than your traditional 9 to 11. And you can find us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. You can find us on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com. Once the shows go live, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is with you on Stitcher, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, and more. All you have to do, including with Alexa and your Google devices, is ask them to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, to find us on any one of these many avenues to make it impossible to miss us. Thank you to Central and Upstate New York partners and beyond, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, PB&J's Lunchbox, K9 Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, K9 Campground Dog Boarding, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Pizza Man, Honda City of Liverpool, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, and Mother's Cupboard. And Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is, of course, your exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your... here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Lemoyne College fins up every single Wednesday on Wake Up Call. Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time is Dolphin Time, and you can find your Dolphins Wednesdays on the first and third Wednesday for AD and DT, Athletics Director Bob Beretta, and myself, Dan Tortora, chronicling the exclusive first to them looking at realignment and reclassification potentially to Division I, and the exclusive updates throughout the last few months. So you will not find the realignment and reclassification information anywhere else but Wake Up Call first here with AD and DT. And of course, every second and fourth Wednesday of each month, we have the Dolphin Dive, where we dive into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, as well as future Dolphins and alumni. You can find out more from your Dolphins and all of our specials by going to the Lemoyne tab of wakeupcalldt.com. You can also go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and click subscribe. And for more information on your Dolphins, go to lemoynedolphins.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Marywood University Pacers. It's Pacer Pride every single week on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and you can find your Pacers on Fridays around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time for our specials that we air all throughout the year. Marywood University Pacers Pacer Pride content with student athletes, administration, and coaches can be found on our Marywood tab on wakeupcalldt.com, as well as by subscribing to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. For more information, go to marywoodpacers.com. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse bring you the Bobcat Buzz in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. We've made history with the Bobcats in just a few months' time, and we have a fantastic broadcast for you as we did our first ever on-site, on-campus Bobcat takeover of Wake Up Call last week. You can go back and watch it on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and of course you can get your Bobcats on the BSC SYR tab on wakeupcalldt.com, which stands for Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and search the Bobcats on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and stay tuned every month to the Bobcat Buzz. For more information on your Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. PJ, before we finish, had a final word.
I did forget to say something and to inform our listeners that my son bought me a birthday gift, which is unbelievable. He's got us 2 tickets to go see the Angels play Tampa Bay in the 3rd week in August, and they're already sold out. And with my disability, I got a nice slot up there.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I hope Trout is playing then, and maybe Ohtani will even pitch. But I'm looking forward to that. And as an old American League umpire by the name of Durwood Merrill, and he'd always say, "Play ball," just like that.
That come from Papa Joe. Great gift from my big bro, Joey, and much love to all of you here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Find us on Facebook 24/7 at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT, and of course all the time on WakeUpCallDT.com. You know that I leave you with 3 final things, but before I do that, I want to say thank you to each of you for watching and listening. Thank you for supporting my family, and thank you for supporting what we do, because it's very different than what you would expect from any sports show anywhere in the world. I am thankful for God. I'm thankful for my family, blood and not blood, and I'm thankful to have a dad like Papa Joe, who has given me so much love, so much of his time, and we've been able to share the airwaves. I'll never be able to find all the words to say, but I'm incredibly grateful to sit next to you. I'm thankful to talk with you, and I'm honored that you treat me like another son.
That's what I do. St. Augustine is our home.
So with that being said, from the second home of Wake Up Call and my second home, we bid you adieu from Cafe Kubal Studios. We hope you have a great day, and we'll see you for the rest of our Florida Takeover coming up at 9 a.m. Tuesday through Friday for the rest of this week. A lot of great stuff coming up inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Thanks to Ma and Paz for bringing us what's